أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all our lovely viewers and welcome on Youth Matters with me, your host, Sakina Habib. I want you to think about three R's for today. The three R's are restart, reset, and refocus. That's right. Sometimes we need to reflect about certain situations in our communities. For example, how do we see sisterhood in the community? How important should the role of supporting one another be given in times of social media influence? Now, with the rise of social media influencers, speakers, authors, writers, scholars, it becomes difficult to ensure who are we exactly following. Are they authentic figures? Are they true to what they're saying? There's a quick tip from a psychologist that I found out today is that when you set a boundary in a relationship, the other person has a right not to like it and they probably won't. But that doesn't make you wrong for setting the boundary. If you have to betray yourself in order to be liked by someone else, then it's not a healthy relationship. So, on today's program, we're going to be looking into the pros and cons of sisterhood in our community. We're going to be discussing about the toxicity of being power hungry, especially in today's time and era when it comes to the social media influencing. And whom are we really looking up to? Are we really having the right friends amongst in our friend circles? So there's a lot to talk about. And I'm going to leave this once I welcome my two beautiful guests on board today. So my first guest today is Sister Rehana Mauji. She is an active community volunteer and has a passion for service to the community. She is the female head of the Co-Ed Youth Board, a madrasa teacher, but most importantly, a servant of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim assalam. And of course, my second guest is already well known and has appeared on my programs a couple of times, Sister Maliha Elias. She is a teacher, translator, poet, writer, and student of Islamic law. I would like to welcome both of them on board. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you both today?
Um,
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Pleasure to be on the show with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking out your precious time for being a part of this very interesting show where usually we discuss about all types of topics, all sorts of contemporary issues that take place within our societies, within our communities, um, informative stuff, educational stuff, also things that are a matter of a concern within our societies and communities. Now, for instance, today we're going to be looking into sisterhood in the community. And I want to ask, both of you that why is sisterhood important? Number one, and number two, if you were to define what sisterhood actually means, like for example, in Islam we call each other sisters and brothers. Obviously, not we're not biologically siblings, but we do that. What does that actually mean? What does it have a true meaning to it? To what extent, from what context do we see it? So I would first like to start with Sister Maliha Elias. What is your view on this? And then inshallah, let's take the conversation as it flows naturally.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. First of all, I would like to say that sisterhood is important because in a community, family cannot only be your only support system. You need to have other support system outside of your nuclear and extended family as well. You need to have a network of trusted individuals to support you throughout your journey of faith, your journey of spirituality, your journey of learning. Now, with regards to your second question, what does sisterhood mean? The way I see sisterhood is a healthy connection based on sincerity and love of Allah, rather than, hey, I'm going to call this person my sister because that's the coolest thing to do nowadays. be sisters, or I'm gonna call this person my sister just so I can get so and so's contact information. So meaning it has to be based on sincerity and the love of Allah. That's my take on it.
Very true. What would you like to add on this, Sister Rehana?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Such an amazing topic and something that I'm so passionate about in trying to make these bonds of sisterhood in so many different ways, especially living in the West, having people to call sister, as Sister Mali has said, who are not your original blood, is so important because it makes you feel like you've got someone who says, I've got your back. Especially in times of need, especially in times of having someone there. Sometimes family is not the only support system you need, as it was mentioned, but having these friends, having people around you, and females understand females in the best of ways. So it gives them a sense of belonging, especially if they're feeling isolated in their own. It really that sense of belonging. And when you have a good friendship network, or you have a good network of sisters, of women who are like-minded and who have the same goals and aspirations to them, it empowers a woman, it empowers a sister. And for you to be an empowering woman, you need to be empowered yourself, because only empowered women can empower other women. And inshallah, we can build a society in that way that's built on sisterhood. But it's really a way of saying, I've got your back and you're not alone. So sisterhood, I think, is so, so important, and sometimes not looked upon as important as it is.
Absolutely, I agree with you on this. We need to sometimes understand more deeply and reflect more on what it means to call someone as a sister or a brother. Meaning, to what extent can we go sometimes to maybe support them if they do need, an assistance or help sometimes in their lives. Now, Sister Malihe, since you're relatively new to the community, what advice would you give to someone who is new to the community in terms of seeking sisterhood?
My advice would be to not judge, to not call someone a sister just because of the number of times they pray, just because of the number of times they go Ya Hussein, but to see if what they say matches with their actions. That would be my advice. And also, whatever that you hear from the other sisters, take it with a pinch of salt. Not like, don't dive too much into what they say, and just let them be their own. Just let them show their own character, and then you can be the judge if you want to keep in touch with the sister, or would you rather keep a distance from that sister.
Now, when we see certain relationships within our friend circles, what do you think, Sister Rehana? I'm sure there are, different ways of making friendships as well. I mean, everybody is different. Some people are introverts, some are extroverts, some are very selective when it comes to, making friends, such as myself. When it comes to even having friend circles, people might think on the outside, oh, she's probably got like tons of followers or friends. But sometimes you're very observant about who do you want to really make or keep that long friendship with, to keep that long-term friendship. What are some ways that, we can look into sometimes when we are selecting the right friends in our lives?
So I think it's so important to be able to differentiate the difference between having an acquaintance and actually having a friend. An acquaintance, you can be acquaintances with so many people. You're there for your time of need. You need them, they need you, business, work. And sometimes when you get close to a person like that, you automatically think they are your friend. And sometimes it's just the way they behave in work situations. And you think, oh, but when it was the time of friendship, what I expected from them wasn't there, but they hadn't signed up to be that friend. It was more of an acquaintance relationship. But where it comes to friendship, I think you have to be so careful with the friends that you pick. And the first advice I would give anyone, and alhamdulillah, I feel so blessed to have this circle myself, to have friends who remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think this is the biggest criteria, and it's the criteria for everything, even when you're looking for a spouse, and mainly in friendship, when you're looking for this, to find people who remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that's your goal, to be able to reach Him. And to have sisters in wilaya, to have sisters who understand your same love of Imam Hussein, your same love for Mawla Ali alayhi salam, and to have this love within them automatically makes you bound from just not just a friendship at a superficial level, but something a lot deeper than that. And when you've already got that grounding of the love of wilaya, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, other things start falling into place. You start realizing your values align. You might have different goals in life. What I want and what my friend might want might be completely different. But we're okay to be different because that main thread of wilaya and that main thread of the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps us bound together. So for example, in the friendship group that we have, all of our gatherings will have something that has a spiritual base to them. So even if we meet for dinner, even if we meet to go out, we'll always either start with salah or end with salah, or we'll start with a reflection about something and then end with a meal. Or if we're meeting, even in Shahr Ramadan, for example, for these big Sahri nights, they will start with a dua because these friends are linked through that thread of the connection of God and then have a love. And friendships, I think, take you to such a higher level because it's not just a superficial friendship, but you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be able to take these friends with you to Jannah. And I think that's a massive thing to look for when you're looking for what kind of friends to build.
Might I
I
add
think
something
I
to
would like
this?
to hear yes, I wanted to say the same, that I want to hear from your perspective, Sister Malika. What would you like to
I completely agree with what Sister Rehan said, and I especially like when she said that that the friends that you have in your circle, they need to, they that when they have the same concept of the same love for wilaya, the same love for Allah as you have, then that definitely makes a big difference. And I can give my own example. Some of the sisters that I have met through my ziyarah journeys, they have become more of a family than some of my own family members. And Sister Rehan is actually one of them. I remember last year when I went to London, I had no family member in London, but now with Sister Rehana, I know that I have a family in London, and she knows that she has a family in Canada.
SubhanAllah.
Beautiful.
See, that's how connections are built, right? Like very mysteriously and magically, and based on wilaya, as you said. That's a very beautiful concept. And how would you, if I were to ask Sister Rehana, how, when it comes to the about talking about, if we're seeing someone authentic, meaning how can we sort of differentiate between someone who's really being a true person or faking it, or I don't want to use very harsh words, but what I want to say is that how can you be sure of this person, that they're real on what they're outside and what they're on their inside.
So the best way to test this is to have them around in your success. It's really easy to have people there when you're failing to say, oh, we'll be okay. Next time will be better. You'll be all right. But to have someone by your side to see your success and to clap you on, to say, well done, and I want to see you do even better, that's when you can know that you have a true friend in your life who actually wants to see you succeed in the best of ways and not wants to see you succeed only if they are succeeding. And you see this in a lot of friendships. You have people by your side, they'll tell you, I really wish you do well. I wish you do well. They push you, push you. When you suddenly start doing a little bit better than them, there is a problem in that friendship and they don't like it. And it's a question to ask yourself that you got me to this stage. You hopefully wanted me to do better, but they just wanted you to be a little bit lower than them. The minute you started crossing that and doing well, they had an issue. And it's a question to ask yourself that are you truly that friend that when you look at the companions that Imam Hussein alayhi salam had on the day of Ashura, his friend Habib would run. He was ready to give his life. Do I have a friend like that? Even more than that, am I that friend to somebody else? Or am I just waiting for their downfall? And it's not a good thing to judge at all. And the only person you can judge is yourself. But if you start being the authentic version of you, you will definitely start attracting the authentic version of other people. And I've seen this happen in life. I'm sure we have examples of this in life.
Sister Maliha, would you like to share any incident that touched you, in this journey of yours, as you said, when you made friendships during Ziara and all of that. Were there any particular friend whom you met? Maybe you had certain expectations of them, and maybe they didn't turn out the way you expected it to be, and it came to you as a shock, or you were taken aback by their character or personality.
Well, see, I think that not every single person has to be on the same spiritual journey as you are, and sometimes it's not that that other person is being inauthentic. Sometimes it's just that they are not at your that they are not on the same wavelength as you. So let's be clear about that. But I have to say this, that unfortunately, something that I have seen in my journey is that envy is a menace in our community, especially in our sisterhood community. And I'm not going to sugarcoat and everything. This has to be spoken about. When you call yourself a sister, when you call yourself a follower of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, of Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam, of Sayyida Zahra alayhi salam, but then you use your status, your title, your connections, or whoever, whatever, to slander another sister or another brother. It's not only the sisters that get slandered, the brothers get slandered too. Let's be honest about that. Okay? So then you really have to evaluate what is your relationship with Allah, what is your relationship with the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Are you only using them just so you can get your 15 minutes of fame? Or are you only using that to get your followers or whatever? Or are you actually sincere with your connection to them? So say for example, I call Sister Rehana my sister, my friend, whatever have you. Okay? Then I use my status, my position in the community, and I in a malicious way. I go to Sister Rehana and I say 50 people have warned me about you. What does that have to say about me and my connection to the Ahlul Bayt, and most importantly, my connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You know? So when what I would say is that if you intend to have a connection with anyone, be it brotherhood or sisterhood, or with anyone, get your intention straight. What is the reason for you to connect with this person? So you either get your intention straight and stop disrespecting Allah and the Ahlul Bayt like that, or yeah, I can talk about this a lot. I'm sorry. I'm really, well, now there are certain things I'm going to have to hold back.
Okay. You know, I just might as well add that sometimes I think the way we portray ourselves on social media can be different from the way that we are in real life. And the best way to find out is when you are actually staying with that person, like when you're spending maybe a few days with that person. And the best time is when you're traveling with them, or I don't know, maybe meeting them up or whatever. But I think usually during ziyarat periods and such occasions, when you get to know someone really, really better. So also when it comes to social media, I just want to put it out to everybody that your social media is not for your friends, because your social media is for you and your dreams and your self expression. So it's not what someone wants you to be or to become. And more so, it's meant to put something out in the world intentionally so that people who are looking for you and who need you can find you. This is what social media is actually for. Like, it's the way that you do your total immersion into who you're becoming. And why I'm saying all this is that sometimes people really judge you on the things that you put out on social media. I mean, you could be going through phases in your life that people don't even know about, obviously, because you're not putting your whole story out there. So just by looking at certain things on your social media, sometimes they're just making these assumptions and whatsoever. So the thing is that at the end of the day, one needs to just put this out in their minds, like, this is not because I want to show off or because I want to have a lot of fan following going on. You are your authentic self. You are putting out your feelings out there as expression of yourself. So we need to basically not judge a lot, to just be very new towards everybody. I hope everybody can hear me, right? Or am I freezing?
Yeah, you got.
Okay. So, Sister Rehana, I would like to move on to you. When it comes to the name and fame game, how many people actually indulge themselves on social media platforms and in public events to actually spread the right message? And how many do it just for the fame highlight? What is your view on this?
So I think social media is such a powerful tool that we have in our hands to be able to spread the right way. You know, we have it for lectures, we have it for talks, we have it for spiritual development, self development, for anything that we want. And it can be used in the most positive of ways. And we know if we want to, especially a truth, because this is, you know, Imam Ali alayhi salam has said, move with the times, move with them. You know, don't live in the times that you were in. So move with them. And social media can influence the most amazing ways, more than a 1 hour majlis at the mosque sometimes can influence. A 1 minute clip can change your life, or a 1 minute meme or a reel that you've seen can really affect you. But it's about how do we actually use it. And Shaitan finds the best way to come into this because he knows you're looking at these things. You could be doing the best of things. You could be trying to spread. It just needs one post or it needs one wrong reel or something to be able to get you attracted. And we know the minute you see one, the next one comes up and comes up and the next one comes up. And you know, you've gone and done smile. I did it. All I needed was one wrong click and she's there. So it can be used as something very, very well versed. It can be used as such a good way to spread your business. I know my business was spread on there, and it's been amazing getting the amount of clients just from social media. But again, if you use it in the right way to inspire others, to motivate others, even things like obviously Instagram, Facebook, all of this can be in such a negative way as well. People down, everything can be seen, what you're writing for everybody else. I've seen Facebook to be called folk because it's something that spreads fitna and fasad within the community. It's such a corrupt way that can be used to influence other people to think of somebody else. So your question of how many use it in the right way, I feel majority of them start using it in the right way because either to spread the knowledge, either to spread Islam, either to share their business, to grow their business, to be able to teach, inspire, motivate. But social media plays a part sometimes in people's life, and if you're not careful, it can go the other way. And your intention is so, so important because to grow your business is amazing. You know, you want to try and be the best version of yourself. But have I just turned it into something where I just want it to be a name and fame game, where I want everyone to know me? I start posting religious every day so everyone thinks I'm religious. You know, I start putting other people down so everyone thinks, wow, she has an opinion. It's an asking of yourself to see what is my intention before I post this. What reaction am I trying to get from the audience? Because come on, if you don't get likes, they posted that in the first place. You're going to check your likes. You're going to check who's checked your story. It's obvious. I'm not giving away me, but it's obvious you do. And, you know, you want an audience. You're trying to get that crowd to come and view that thing. But your intention is so important. Am I giving this out to motivate, to teach, to spread? Or am I doing it just so they think I'm a certain type? And this fame game, I think, has become so dangerous these days. It can lead to other things, problems in the community and relationships. And, you know, this can just go on and on.
Absolutely. I think you've nailed it. You've nailed this point. You know, sometimes it gets to a point like you yourself get so tired, you want to actually get off from all of this and you just want to disappear for some time because it just takes a toll over you. And I don't know, it just feels like you're not living in a real world. You know, you're living with these entities and people who are just virtual around you. Like you can't even connect or relate with them. What about you, Sister Maliha? What would you like to add about the name and fame game? And would you rather say that is it more portrayed in a confidence manner or in an arrogance manner? You know, sometimes people cannot differentiate or make this fine line between what is arrogance and what comes out as confidence? How would you like to put that out?
I think that there's no shame in getting fame. I think that what you do with that fame, that's where things get serious. So, for example, I'll give an example of my own. Some of the changes that I had brought to my previous school board in terms of making it more Shia friendly, if that's the right term to use. That has come to on the Shia news channels. That is not to say that I, Malihe Ilyas, I made that change. No, I wanted it to be on the news so that it can motivate people around the world, especially our Shia students, to make those changes in their workplaces, in their school board. Not necessarily for me to be seen as, mashallah sister, you did this, mashallah sister, this, mashallah sister, that. No, 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 no. Don't come in, mashallah sister. But in terms of when does it become a problem, if I use, again, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say the same thing again, because this is a menace in our society. If I use my fame, my status, my background, my title to tarnish the image of Sister Rehana because, mashallah, her business is going amazing, or to tarnish Sister Uzma, or to tarnish Sister Fahima, or to tarnish Zakira Shairoz, that because I have this envy in me, like, why are they doing things better than me? I wish I can have the same skills as Zakira Shairoz. I wish I was as artistic as Sister Rehana, but I'm not. So what is something that I can do? I can slander her. I can put myself up by slandering her. So this is where the problem starts. When you misuse that fame, this is where the problem starts. But as Sister Rehana said, like, if that fame is used properly, we can spread the message of Islam far and wide. Seriously.
Yes, that's very true. I liked how you put it out, and we have to really be careful sometimes about making these friendships, because it's true. Sometimes it's the trait of shaitan. Like, he really tries to manipulate your mind by putting the hasad and all of that into one's heart. One sometimes even doesn't realize where it actually just comes from, that thought itself. So we need to be alert and be conscious about our nafs, that what's really happening. Very true. A good thought. Can we also talk about the toxicity of being power hungry? I think this is a favorite question of mine to ask. So, I mean, because everybody wants to be as successful as someone else simply by watching them on social media. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people right now who are, upcoming reciters. Everybody wants to be this upcoming social media influencer. It could be business, or it could be especially Islam and Ahlul Bayt. Like right now, if you just open your feed, you're gonna find so many reciters and scholars and daily write-ups. And now you're just thinking to yourself, what's actually happening? And people are more into the likes and the comments and all of that. So to what extent can actually this be true when it comes to the toxicity of being power hungry, Sister Rehana?
I think, as you mentioned, it's become such a big thing in our community, and I speak from the angle of being a part of many different groups within the society, many different groups in the community, and someone described it so beautifully. They said, if you think of a spider trying to climb up a glass vase, and every time the spider gets higher, another spider comes and tries to overtake it and pushes the other one down, and the other one, and then that spider starts climbing up, spider underneath it comes, and they're both going up together. It only get to a little while before that overtakes and pushes the other one down again. And if you see this in our community, as I mentioned earlier, people will try and to say, you know what, go ahead, do these projects, do these different things, go ahead and do things. But then it's all about whose name comes at the end. And, is it the name of fame? Is it the name game? This whole thing we're thinking about. The idea was you want to be able to spread something. You want to be able to share an idea. You want to be able to put something forward. The name doesn't come out. Is it all? The idea is you wanted the concept to be spread, whatever you may be doing. And as Sister Marie has said, being famous or having your name a good thing, definitely, because when someone knows you, they know what you do, they want to be able to learn more about you. But how do you use that? And I feel it's become a toxic power society where everyone is trying to gain that power. Whether I do it or you do it, it's who's going to have the hand, who has the power to be able to do this. Whereas if we were true sisters of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we should be, we would each be using each other as an inspiration. It's Sister Maliha and saying, wow, she's doing amazing she's in the school. I want to take this on board and use that aspiration to build. I want to use what she's done as motivation here in the UK. If I looked at you, Sistina, and said, you know what, you're hosting amazing I wish you the best, but I also want to learn from you to be able to, this is a goal of mine, to do stuff in media. I want to use you as my encouragement or my motivation, rather than saying, you know what, I need to do better than what she's done, have the power in my name needs to come out in front of everyone. How often are we able to do a project without putting our name on it? Obviously when you do things online, your name is there, your face is there, it's different. But little things, we are told, give sadaqah with the right hand, so your left hand doesn't even see. How much in actualization are we, when we're helping other people, making it known to everyone else, by the way, I did this, the power was in my hands, the name, the fame should come to me? Or have I done this solely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I did this out of the goodness of my heart to get closer to you. You take it. You do what you want with it. I feel something has really, really been lost in our communities, and I say that especially with the sisters who are just, on each other's backs, and it's a scary thought to think where this is going to go.
What about Sister Malihe? What would you like to add on this? And also, I have this question in my mind. Does this just happen within our Shia community, or does it even happen in other communities? Like if we take it, to an international level, when we are working with our, colleagues in, international markets or outside of our basically Islamic circle, is it the same?
Something that I have often been told is that, well, it's not only a Shia problem, it happens everywhere. Okay, I get it, it happens everywhere. But right now we're talking about the Shia community. What reason do we have to behave this way? We claim that we follow the truth. We claim that we are on the right path, whatever. Okay, then why are we not acting like that? Let's stop making excuses that, oh, but it happens everywhere, so it happens here too. Okay, then what are you doing about it? Why is there this constant need to compare and to sabotage and to just be jealous when we can easily accept and embrace that we all have our own strengths? My strength is languages. Rehana, mashallah, her strength is art. Like if you see her Mehendi page, I cannot for the life of me even draw anything like that. And Sister Uzma, mashallah, she's all into spirituality. Sister Fahima, mashallah, she's into mental health now. Zakira Shairoz, mashallah, world renowned international female speaker. And of course Sakina, our very own Sakina, mashallah. I don't know how you can be a host, like how you can do hosting, because I can't. But do you see what I mean? That we all have so much to add, but why is there this constant need to compare, to sabotage, and to just be jealous? Why? Do you really hate yourself that much?
Absolutely. I don't know what I mean. I don't know what to add over here, but it's so true. I think it's really true that sometimes we do need to think about what are we doing, how, because everybody has their own individual capability, ability, and talent. Everybody is good in their own field, and we cannot compare ourselves. Like, for example, sometimes, I often get texts from people whom I don't even know, and they really give me some amazing feedbacks, and they are the source of inspiration for me, because I don't even know these people, I haven't met them, and just because they watch these shows and they tell me that we're really benefiting from these programs, and we want you to bring such speakers or such guests on your programs, that itself is a source of inspiration for me, that alhamdulillah, that means that at least I'm doing something good, the message is being delivered and spread across, alhamdulillah. So when it comes to, for example, someone else probably in a different field, maybe they're excelling much better, I wouldn't, want to put them down or say that, okay, now I won't, because she's got maybe 19K followers, or because she's got, I don't know how many million followers, I want to reach that. No, these small things make a bigger impact in my life. Like people, just sending me a few messages, or, I'm just giving an example. It's something very small. Of course, a lot of other things happen, but there's a very small example that how it inspires one to basically feel that, you know, at least I'm being seen, that this is my value. I'm worth it. I'm doing something. And, this is how you support sisters and brothers within your community. I mean, what is this? This is a motivation in a way. So this was something that I wanted to share. And now there's a very important question. The final question is that, does the powerful effect of truly wanting others to succeed even exist today as we speak right now, Sister Rehana?
So I think this is a beautiful question, and the only way that this can exist is if we are ready to crush our ego. And I think this is so important, because the word ego, if you look at it, has been translated or prescribed or looked at as ego, edging God out. And when you edge God out of a relationship, out of a society, or out of a friendship, it's very difficult to be able to have a successful relationship or a successful bond of sisterhood with the ego present. When you edge God out and Allah Ta'ala is not in the picture, you can't have a successful, powerful community. So I'll give you an example. Just now we had our first ladies retreat, alhamdulillah, in London, in Oxford. We had 45 women that had come to this between the ages of 21 and 45. Each one came with their own baggage. Each one came with their own reasons of why they were only there for literally just over 48 hours. It was 2 nights. But the idea was to have a spiritual gathering where there was no judging. Anyone could talk about anything they wanted, and it was just a space for sisters to be able to get together, build the bonds of sisterhood, and inshallah build within their spirituality, build within their self-development, and hopefully leave as a better person. We had Naseem Antiwalji as one of the facilitators. We had Uzma Naqvi as a facilitator. And I cannot tell you the powerful effect of this weekend, because women were allowed to be their authentic in a group of 40 women, which is a spiritual number in itself, but there was no judgment. They all realized that we are all servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing else. Our titles, our job roles, whether you're a wife or a mother or a sister, meant nothing. The idea was you're a woman, an individual who is an abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as we sat on the first night, they all got roses that they were given. And they had to make an intention of why they have come to this retreat. As the roses were put back in, some of the sisters said, how do we know which rose to take back on Sunday? And the idea was that you're going to take a different rose because you're going to be leaving as a different person than what you came with. And on the Sunday night, when each sister stood up to take their rose, they had to say one thing that they learned from this weekend, or one thing they picked up. And to see tears in the eyes of these women to say, this weekend I found God, or this weekend I found my purpose to life, or in this weekend I realized where I was going wrong and what my true connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala needs to be, or the baggage I need to drop, or different things about themselves. It just needed 48 hours for 40 women to get together in a safe space where they drop their ego to be able to be and be like. So does it exist? 100% it can exist, but it's up to us to be able to create that community by crushing the ego and realizing it cannot happen without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the process.
SubhanAllah. Thank you so much for sharing this beautiful experience with all of us. And I know what you're talking about, because I had seen a lot of amazing posts that were posted on Instagram as well about this retreat program. And hats off to all the facilitators, especially to Naseem Auntie. MashaAllah, she's an amazing person. She's a gem. She's a true motivator. I know how many times she has motivated me personally when I've felt down and low on some of my days. And mashallah, she's she's really been a true mother source of inspiration. So we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps such such members and such scholars and such figures safe in our community, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them abundantly. And I would move on to Sister Malihe to add on to this point of view. And also, Sister Malihe, just before I go move on to this one, I just want to have a very fun question. So, like, I know we're talking about sisterhood in the community, but when it comes to brotherhood in the community, okay? So, like, what do you think? Is it more better to, basically, you can say support from the brothers or the sisters?
Well, I think that it's more. I think that it's more important and more useful to have support from the sisters, because a brother cannot understand you like how a sister could, right? Like, sure, I can
Okay.
call someone my brother, but there are certain issues that I'm not comfortable talking to talk about with the brother because he's a na-mahram for me, you know. So
Yeah.
in this way, I say that sisterhood is a lot more important, because again, the way a brother can understand a brother and a sister can understand a sister, there's just no comparison. There's just no match. But to add more to what Rehana said, mashallah, it looks like it was a lovely retreat. May Allah give you folks multiple opportunities. May Allah give all of us multiple opportunities to have such
Inshallah.
retreats from everywhere around the world. Ameen. I think that true sisterhood does exist. I think that is, as much as it may be rare, it's not right to say that it doesn't exist. It does exist. It does exist. And it's up to us as well. I'm not saying that I'm a perfect human being. I have my own many flaws as well, but I'm trying my best, even though super slowly. But anyway, I'm trying my best as well to be a sister to someone, and not just wanting sisterhood, but also giving sisterhood. I think that's also very important. And another thing that I also wanted to wanted to mention was that, these menaces that we have discussed in our society, as difficult as it is, make dua for the people that spread those menaces, that partake in those menaces, because it's clearly obvious that they may not know something better, that they may be lost in their journey,
Absolutely. I think somewhere we all sometimes do feel lost, and I think that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has introduced this beautiful form of repentance, asking for forgiveness, because He teaches us that every time it's a way of refreshing yourself, rinsing your soul, and so that is why when we even see sometimes such scenarios in our life, I think the best way to do is just to forgive, forget, and move on. And I know it's really difficult by just saying it then to get it done, but it is something that someone who's really strong enough usually does. And we ignore these aspects or concerns within our societies and communities, as mentioned by Sister Malihe. Yes, definitely, these are things that are supposed to be a matter of concern. We need to raise awareness. This is, of course, for the betterment of our community at the end of the day. So yes, and are there anything else as we're wrapping up the program right now? Are there any final words that both of you would like to add, and then we can inshallah end the program for today?
Sister Rehana, do you have anything to add?
I just think it would be an amazing place if we actually gave love to each other and we treated everyone the way we want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to treat us. So not just treat them the way you want to be treated, but treat them the way you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to treat you. So to be forgiving, to show kindness, to show compassion, to wish good on others, to pray for their success. When you pray for somebody else, it automatically comes towards yourself as well. I think sometimes we've become very self-centered. Everything becomes about the self. But to realize that we are nothing without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So to make ourselves this God-centric human being, to have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the core of every action that we do. And I think that will make us think before we speak, that will make speak before we act, and that will make us think, will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be happy with me before I do what I'm doing to somebody else? And in that way, if you want yourself to succeed, you pray others will give you that. It's your duty to give it first, inshallah.
What about you, Sister Malihe? Would you like to add something?
I just pray that may we give our Imam a community to come to. That's my main dua. That's my main dua, because oftentimes we, as Sister Rehana said, we become so self-centered that we completely forget that there's an awaited savior that will be coming to us very soon, inshallah. That, and also may inshallah all of us, and that includes me as well, may all of us keep on working on being a true Zainabiyah that we all want to be. I think that from the inside, every single one of us wants to be a Zainabiyah, but unfortunately, Shaitan's waswasa catches up to a lot of us.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sister Malihe, for sharing that. And I really want to thank the both of you, honestly, for taking out your precious time. It was a great conversation. I think it was a more heart-to-heart conversation. And thank you for the fact that, for suggesting this topic, Sister Malihe especially, and for Sister Rehana, thank you so much for being a part of this program. It was an honor having you, and the way you shared your points were so insightful, so deep, so touching. So thank you to the both of you.
Alhamdulillah, thank you for having us.
Jazakallah.
Thank you so much to all our viewers for tuning on today's program, and I want to thank both our sisters for joining today's program. Thank you, viewers, for tuning on today's program and for being a part of this very interactive and insightful discussion with Sister Malihe and Sister Rehana. And once again, thank you for joining Youth Matters with me, your host, Sakina Habib. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.